Come check out owlsherbs.com where we have all of your herbal needs and different variety of products from sea moss to black seed oil and a different variety of products for different health issues because your health is your wealth. Purchase the Millionaire Savings Plan available on Amazon.com and BrokeGeniuses.com. Learn how to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, get out of debt, save more money, achieve your financial goals, and live a better life. Basically, I talked about F through C already. So I'm moving up to grade B neighborhoods. So basically, in short, a grade B neighborhood is pretty much an upper middle class neighborhood. I'm going to start off to explain what the income, according to as recent as 2019, what upper middle class actually is as far as income. So basically, as you can see, me see here, my computer screen is frozen. Let's see here. So yeah, it's showing there. All right. So basically, upper middle class is between the range of $106,000 a year to $373,000 a year, roughly, give or take, is considered upper middle class. So basically, you're not necessarily rich, but you're not middle class, you're not middle of the road, you're upper middle class, because that's usually the trajectory of income and earnings, is that when somebody actually, most people that are actually rich right now, that are making over $300,000 a year, if not sitting on a nest egg of a half a million to a million plus a year, and also have income. Basically, usually most people that have that status as of being rich, right? They've basically came up from as low as being poor, or middle class, to their status now, that of being rich, right? That's what tends to happen to most people. They basically ladder up towards that you know status of class, where they're rich by moving up the class systems. That's why also a lot of times people that, I don't want to say cheat, but they kind of take on a rocket ship to go from being poor to extremely rich, such as a lot of athletes and celebrities. That's why they tend to actually go broke, because here's the educational lesson that you get from going from the through the class systems, whether it be you were poor or middle class or whatever. You learn certain kind of key skills that kind of help you maintain your money that you have for a longer period of time. Not to say that just it's not that just athletes and celebrities go broke. I mean, a lot of people actually go broke, but what tends to happen is most of the people that make the trajectory of going from a lower class to a higher class, let's just say, they learn certain key skills along the way to allow them to maintain that higher status, that higher class. Meaning they learn to save money, they learn to budget, they learn to control their spending, control their emotions. And they've learned to how to make and invest their money wisely. A lot of those things people don't get when you just wake up, you know, a month from now, a year from now, and then just sign a contract for $10 million. And you were, growing up around the projects. I mean, you're going to go what? Take that money, go buy a whole bunch of chains. You're gonna buy your homies some chains. You're gonna buy your girlfriend, your baby mama some chains, and a car, and also several cars. A lot of just, basically items, right? Or just different just basically levels or types of wasteful spending. And then, next thing you know, after some years, you're no longer to make that same amount of income goes from making millions of dollars to basically you lucky to make $100,000 a year by signing autographs at a local swap meet or whatever. I mean, it just goes really really downhill. That's why a lot of times people that are celebrities, that went from rags to riches, they tend to file bankruptcy and just kind of go back to a lifestyle where they were, and that lifestyle might be some, very, very humbling, um, to say the least. Some are able to transition and still maintain some type of income or life outside of their particular sport or whatever they were doing as far as entertainment, and find some way to actually make some type of income for themselves. But most celebrities, they uh tend to go broke after the money no longer comes in. So I just say that to say that most people, like I said, they go up the classes. They go from, you got a lot of people that have probably lived in a trailer park, right? And they were poor, right? And then they, basically got themselves acquainted to, they start making more money, and then they moved into just a regular single family home. And then, after a while of working and saving up some money, they moved up to a better, um situation where they've, let's say, after they're about, mid 40s, they moved up into a section of upper middle class, because they, started to learn how to make money. um maybe the husband started driving trucks, and then the wife went to nursing school. Because yes, one of the things about this cla- uh, uh basically upper middle class uh is a lifestyle, is that a lot of these people are married. So if you look up marriage rates by income, what you'll see is that very much the upper middle class and upper class tend to be married more so. Okay. Because you gotta look at it like this. Like I say, I just took a family, just middle America, let's just say white family that came from the trailer park to the husband started driving trucks. Then the wife went to, let's just say, nursing school. By the time she got out of nursing school in her late 20s. Then she basically uh got more experience, maybe went back to school, and the husband started to basically get some maybe hazardous material endorsements because you can make more money with that. In combined income, they make close to $200,000 a year to combine income. If so with that combined income, they're able to afford to get into upper middle class. So that tends to be what happens in as far as in America, what tends to happen, how people move up the class systems. So I'm going to show you another screen. And I'm just leading with basically the dynamics of the upper middle class, because if I don't explain this, then people that aspire to be in this class, they would it would behoove them to know what is actually going on. Okay, why one of the biggest differences of a grade C and up neighborhood is the marriage rates are tends to be higher. So I'm gonna read this article real quick. And basically I will move along to an example of what a class B neighborhood is. Okay, so this article, this is out of ifstudies.org. Okay, this reads: the fragility of working class marriages and families. Before the 1970s, there were not large class divides in American family life. The vast majority of Americans got and stayed married, and most children lived in stable two-parent families. But since the 1960s, the United States has witnessed an emerging substantial marriage divide by class. First, poor Americans became markedly less likely to get and stay married. Then, starting in the 1980s, working class Americans became less likely to get and stay married. The current state of marriage and family life and the class divisions that mark American families can be seen by looking at contemporary trends in marriage, cohabitation, non marital childbearing, divorce, children's family structure, and marital quality. One of the most dramatic indicators of the marriage divide in America is the share of adults age 18 to 55 who are married. Figure 1 indicates that the majority of middle and upper class Americans are married. So that's the figure all the way to the right. Whereas where areas only a minority of working class Americans are married. This stands in marked contrast to the 1970s, when there were virtually no class divides in the share of adults married, and a majority of adults across the class spectrum were married at the same time. Figure 1 indicates the working class Americans fall almost halfway between poor and middle class and upper class Americans when it comes to the share who are married. Okay, so it reads below: when it comes to coupling, poor and working class Americans are more likely to substitute cohabitation for marriage, figure two shows that poor Americans are almost three times more likely to cohabitate, and working class Americans are twice as likely to cohabit compared with middle and upper class peers age 18 to 55. So these charts show that basically the out of the poor, 26% are married in the ages of 18 to 55, and working class is 39%, and middle and upper class is 56%. Okay, so I mean, it's not surprising, and I've definitely talked about Maslow's theories of needs. And when you're poor, when you're on survival mode, people are not thinking, oh well, maybe I should get with somebody else, and we get married, and just lessen the burden on each other. It's more of like kind of like it's survival of the fittest. It's like you're just out, just trying to, survive from one day to the next. And a lot of times people just they just marriage is just not something that poor people tend to do. Um, working class is a little above poor. So it's like very, very much similar. But yeah, under the middle and upper class, more than half are married. Now, let me kind of go back to basically let me get some um uh, get some wordage here. Uh, because when you go into, like I said before, grade B neighborhoods, that dynamic is the first thing that you will see. Um, the baby mama ism and baby daddy ism is kind of you tend to not see as much when you go into this type of neighborhood structure, because like I said, once again, upper middle class is basically 106,000 dollars a year to $373,000 a year, according to the U.S. Census. Now, this may differ from depending on what location that you are in. I mean, obviously, what's the first two, New York and L.A. You might need to make more. Maybe that's why they have 373,000. I would imagine if you're in a household that make $373,000 a year, that would cover New York and LA. You might be kind of like might have to be on a budget depending on where you live in New York and LA. But I would imagine that even $300,000 a year it is enough to at least pay for the cost of living in New York and LA. So i- the thing is that, let's just say the Midwest. If you make $106,000 to $373,000 in the Midwest, anywhere in the Midwest, the most expensive place I would say in the Midwest is probably Illinois. Anywhere within the Chicagoland area, you can live in basically a mini mansion, if not a mansion. You could pay for, when I say live, you could pay for a mortgage in a mansion, a small mansion, if you make that type of money. If you make 106,000 to $300,000 a year, you definitely could afford to pay the mortgage, uh you know taxes depending on where you live. It's very doable because like I say, I mean, even with the prices that they are now, it's very, very low cost compared to other areas, you know. So I'm gonna be talking about a grade B neighborhood uh that comes to mind. And basically this is this is Highland Park. I'm gonna be talking about Highland Park, Illinois. So when I was looking up grade B neighborhoods, Highland Park was one of those neighborhoods that I wanted to talk about, that I was considering. Because basically Highland Park is, you can even say Highland Park is, it has areas where it is definitely grade A, but it also is it has some grade B neighborhoods. Now, this would be something that would be kind of like, I would say, more grade A type of Highland Park, Illinois. But this is definitely mine. This was actually built in 2020. So this house here is probably kind of like a prime house that is in Highland Park, or this is actually will be considered a mansion. Definitely considered a mansion. This is a custom built home here. Um, so this was just something that was open. But let me go back to the different listings in Highland Park. Let me go back there. So you know it's all over the place. Me high contingent and pending offers. Let me just get what's on the market now. Cause yeah, Highland Park is a mix of like upper middle class to upper class. It's definitely it's a mixture of both worlds. And if you are in Illinois, you already know what I'm gonna choose for a grade A neighborhood. So you already you would already know what I'm gonna choose. So these are some kind of listings that are more affordable. Okay. um they're still expensive, but it's kind of like, these are like kind of starter homes type of thing. But yeah, I mean, these are considered to be like upper middle class. Okay. um it's different areas that might be more upper class, like I was just showing this listing here. But this is typically what you would see in a grade B neighborhood. Okay. It's kind of a contrast to a grade F neighborhood. Is moving close to almost perfection. In real estate, what do they say? Location, 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 right? So you could actually buy a fixer upper in Highland Park. And what people were doing, I know years ago, they were actually bulldozing homes, were homes. And what they were doing is they were bulldozing the houses to basically build new custom homes on the lots. So that is like kind of area where they were actually doing that, and that was in Highland Park. And they're probably still doing it. The real estate market is kind of cooled down a little bit. So it it's probably kind of people kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the market. So when it comes to certain neighborhoods, a grade B neighborhood doesn't have a lot of imperfections. Okay. So when it comes to things like what makes a neighborhood very popular or sought after. What's going on, Alonzo? So what you first think of when you think of a neighborhood is you think of crime. Most people, crime is definitely is a factor when it comes to real estate. Crime is one of those things where you know um it it, it can make and break a neighborhood. Well, in grade B neighborhoods, I'm gonna bring up Highland Park's demographics so I can, further show details. But it's a low crime neighborhood. Now, if you really a news hound like myself, and you from Illinois as well, you know what happened in Highland Park. Actually, um, Highland Park was one of those sites where it was a mass shooter. So they had a gay parade, I believe, and it was a shooter on the roof that was basically mowing people down. I think they had an AR-15. It was like some 18-year-old. It was a big. It made international news. And yeah, the guy they caught him. I think yeah they caught him alive. And yeah he I don't know how many people he killed, but it was like a lot of people that he shot down. And I remember watching the video. This is how you could tell people are not accustomed to they were not these people. You could see if you watch that video of the shooting, they were so unused to gunfire and crime and everything like that. I mean, people in Illinois, they know about Chicago. They watch the news. They know people getting shot up every day in Chicago. But when you living in, these neighborhoods all throughout the northern shore and in different parts of the western suburbs and southern suburbs of Chicago, you're insulated from a lot of these violent acts. A lot of the violence that occurs in Chicago are in poor parts of the south side and west side of Chicago. And basically these people, in Highland Park, in this upper class, city, they didn't know how to react to any gunfire. If you watch the video, people were just still watching the parade. They were hearing gunshots and they were still sitting. Nobody even was running. Nobody was ducking down because they didn't know what was going on. They thought maybe it was some fireworks that was about to go off or something. They had no idea that it was an active shooter that was shooting people and mowing people down until people start screaming. Because that's what tends to happen a lot of times when you know you're so privileged to live in this neighborhood, or whether you work for it or it came to you easily. Because yeah, so a lot of these areas, they you know you've had in-laws, aunts, uncles, your parents, they get old, and they bought some of these houses in the 1940s and 50s for dirt cheap, and now they're worth three to $400,000. And you basically were just willed the property. uh you know you've never really had to work that hard day in your life because you pretty much came from a little bit of money. And you're used to living in certain neighborhoods, and then all of a sudden some crazy young short incel just starts opening fire. You don't know what to do. You don't know how to react. And that very well happened in Highland Park. But even given that, you know uh that situation, it's still people trying to move into Highland Park. Just don't get it twisted. you know it's still people trying to move there. You know what I'm saying? Because that typically does not happen, but it did happen. I think it happened about a year ago. Crime is definitely one of it's most B neighborhoods is relatively low crime. Okay, so let me share my screen again to show the statistics of Highland Park, Illinois, and show the demographics. This is citydata.com. So let's get right into it. So as you can see, the medium income, you know, get right to it, is over average medium income is $155,000 a year. So remember I said upper middle class is $106,000, between $106,000 to 300 plus $1,000 a year. These people, their medium income is 155. The average medium income in Illinois is 69,000. They're almost over $100,000, the medium income for the entire state of Illinois. Okay, so the medium house value is $605,000, and the average in entire Illinois is $209,000. Okay, so let me go further. So this is also, I would have to say that I didn't really mention, and I should mention this as well. So yeah, I mentioned it in the last video, but I will say, once you go up to above C, it tends to be, let's just face it, in this country, most of the neighborhoods that are, I would just say, above C, and also definitely B neighborhoods, it's not that many black people that live in those neighborhoods. Highland Park, Illinois is no exception. So when you break down to the race in that live in Highland Park, um, basically, well, this actually talks about the poverty rate. So the poverty rate is 4.5%. But let me go to yeah, this is the demographics. So yeah, like I said, it's even lower than what I initially thought it was going to be. So this Highland Park is 84% white. Okay, it's 8.2% Hispanic, 3% Asian, and black. It's less than 1%, so it's about 0.8%. So it's not even 1% of black people that live in Highland Park, and this tends to be, at least in Illinois. I definitely would say Illinois, but if not most states in America, this tends to be the trend. Once you go to like I said, most like B neighborhoods in the United States, because black people really don't have a lot of money. Um, they don't really have that many B neighborhoods in the United States. Very few. So when it comes, like I said, when I talked about crime, this is the whole facts. Like, all of these zeros, no murders. They almost went, what? It's 10 years to like all these years, not a single person got killed. And then you had the massacre that happened in 2021, and they caught a whole bunch of bodies because of that mass shooter incident that happened in that parade. Very few robberies, yeah, very few rapes, um, well below the national or state average and whatnot. And also, robberies, assaults, burglaries, thefts, um, auto thefts, so on and so forth. The crime is relatively low according to the state is very very low. So or actually U.S. average. It's well below the U.S. average. Okay. Um. So let me go look and see if I can find uh the actual marriage statistics, because it does have does show that it also the unemployment is very low. It's lower than the Illinois average, but not by that much. um so let me see here. They do have marriage statistics, so I just gotta find it. Bear with me, because like I said, most upper middle class communities, as well as just upper middle class individuals, as well as upper class, are married, or over half of those individuals are married. Because you got to face it, you don't necessarily want to be trying to foot the bill for everything by yourself. It kind of goes into that dual income type of situation. Even if you're 100%, I mean, you're not truly 100%. I mean, if you're paying a mortgage, if the husband is paying a mortgage, the wife at least buys the food. I mean, buys the groceries. Has some money to, if in case something happens. I mean, the husband can get sick. You know, um, all of that type of stuff. Can't happen. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, that's something that could happen. Um, so let me see if I can find. I think they have. Okay, yeah, here we go. Uh, so here, according to the statistics, um, the percentage of unmarried partners is 3.1%. You know, and the whole state is 6.3. Is the average. So yeah, most people are married in this city of Highland Park. I mean, it's no surprise. Okay. And that's what tends to happen, because when you have situations where, let me go back to the houses. As far as, the houses tell a lot of the story of the neighborhood. When you have these high mortgages, you, like I say, you tend to need a a, a, a parental delegation of a mother and a father, husband and wife dynamic, to be able to pay these costs. Like I say, 1.3 million dollar house here, right? um let's just look at the monthly payment of this bad boy. So um you can kind of see what that would look like, and then trying to do it by yourself. So the monthly payment is $9,000, and that's with a down payment of $279,000 at 20%, and as well as a $55,000 closing costs. God damn. Woo! So that's due at closing. You paying $330,000, $35,000, and your mortgage is still $9,000 a month. And the property taxes alone looks like the property taxes are about $20,000 a year on this property. So yeah, husband and wife might not like each other, but they damn sure gonna stay together for survival. You know, and yeah, I mean, definitely that is definitely the case here. So yeah, like I say, this is a grade B neighborhood. Relatively low crime. Another aspect of a grade B neighborhood is that when it comes to being able to sell a property, real estate value, you know, um, when it comes to a lot of times when you have properties that are, let's just say, like I talked about, grade F and D neighborhoods. One of the things about grade D and F neighborhoods is obviously the real estate value is an issue. Okay, it tends to be low cost because nobody hardly wants, not that many people are lining up to live there. Well, in grade B neighborhoods, being able to fix up properties and flip them for profit becomes a lot easier, and also to collect rent becomes a lot easier as well, because the real estate value is very, very high. Okay, it's very few abandoned properties in these neighborhoods. You know, there's probably not even one or two, might be one. It's got a for sale sign up because the land is for sale or something like that. But yeah, one of the things about, like I said, grade B neighborhoods is that the real estate value is relatively high, so where it's easy to fix and flip a property as well as collect rent. Okay. So with that said, like I said, this is I'm familiar with Illinois primarily. And one of the things about Illinois is, like I say, Highland Park is very much, you could say, a bona fide grade B neighborhood, if not A. But if I said Highland Park was just an A neighborhood, then I'm not going to give the super rich neighborhood that I'm going to be talking about next any justice, because you couldn't Highland Park, when it compares to the next neighborhood that I'm going to be talking about, it does not compare. As far as, it's not the most expensive neighborhood to be considered a grade A neighborhood. So that's definitely going to be in the works to talk about next. Hopefully you had some understanding of this video. And if you do need help in the department of finance and trying to be able to save money so you can invest, definitely, I want to say, reach out to get my book on Amazon.com. It's basically a good book as far as being able to challenge yourself to save money. It's called The Millionaire Savings Plan. It's a life-changing book. If you are, just somebody that's just trying to figure out, damn, I mean, I make a lot of money, but I never have any money left. this book is for you. This book is definitely something that will help you challenge yourself to kind of get yourself on speed as far as saving some money and kind of moving up the ladder in life to success. Like I said when I started off this video, I talked about how people have came from, like, the trailer park to the projects, and they moved their way up, and they kept striving, and next thing you know, after about 20 years of kind of hard work, and just basically keep striving, and and going up to the top of the class, they've got themselves enough money and wherewithal to live in a upper middle class community. A lot of the I'll have to say, a lot of the black people that I know, as far as in the black community, most of the black people that I know, their parents, they weren't like second generation upper class or middle class, anything like that. Most of my friends parents are rags to riches stories, because a lot of times black people back in the 50s and 60s, in mass, black people were on the average black person was definitely kind of working class at best. Some were middle class, but a lot of people, as far as in mass, black people didn't start really kind of making any type of headway till the 70s and 80s, and primarily in the 90s. So a lot of my friends, my peers, their parents all have rags to riches stories, and even some of my friends have rags to riches stories. I mean, if I become a millionaire tomorrow, my story would definitely be also rags to riches, um unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, this is something that's very commonplace in the black community. So um like I said, this book, it definitely does help, try to kind of ladder your way up to the top, like I said before. So um in any event, this is basically the grade B neighborhood. The next neighborhood I'll be talking about is grade A neighborhoods. Okay, so look out for that one.
Purchase the Millionaire Savings Plan, available on Amazon.com and BrokeGeniuses.com. Learn how to break the paycheck to paycheck cycle, get out of debt, save more money, achieve your financial goals, and live a better life.